Hey, listen to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MP. As always, I'm Grady, and live on Skype we got Josh.
Hey.
Let's take a look at the Blue brand, and in the opening matchup, Shinsuke Nakamura, he had quite a showing last week. He made it pretty deep into that gauntlet match before being screwed over at the end, and he got a little bit of revenge on Jey Uso.
Yeah, it was a really good match, and they're continuing the process of building Nakamura up through this. Makes me sad about something that happened at the end of the show, but we'll get to that.
We'll just talk about it in combination. Basically, at the end of the show, Adam Pearce comes out and signs the contract, sort of, kind of, maybe, and ends up swerving us all and throwing in Kevin Owens as Roman Reigns' opponent for the Royal Rumble.
Yeah. I was not pleased.
I don't think there was a lot of people that were pleased. And I guess the point is they're like, don't get us wrong, it'll probably be a good match between the two.
Yeah.
But
it's a match we've seen twice already with extreme circumstances.
We've already seen the steel cage, we've already seen the TLC.
Yeah. So it's just a case that I wanted to see somebody new, but maybe that's what they're building towards, is they're building Nakamura to whatever the next pay-per-view is. Maybe that's where he takes a match with Roman, or is Elimination Chamber and he's one of the 6 men in the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, there is options to give Shinsuke his shot later on down the line. Bit of a shame that this isn't the case now with Rumble coming up, but I'm sure the eventual match, whether it be a chamber, whether it be a one-on-one, whether it be whatever he ends up getting, he'll put on a pretty good showing with Reigns.
Yeah, for all we know, they may put the title on Kevin Owens for some reason.
That would shock me. It would be really out of nowhere for me when if they had decided to hand the title over to Kevin Owens now after he's already lost twice to Reigns. But you know, where do things have happened in the WWE? And I don't know, Shinsuke Owens will also be a great match, but Shinsuke seems to be targeting Roman Reigns because it's sort of personal now, and that's where his revenge is. But we don't quite know when Shinsuke's going to get that revenge.
No, we'll have to see where they're playing this out too. But there's a lot of interesting moving parts.
Yeah, because another piece I want to note along with this face turn of Shinsuke is that his tag team partner Cesaro also seems to be leaning in alignment that way a little bit, and also had a match.
That's sure on that, but he did get a huge win on Friday night.
He did beat Daniel Bryan.
Yes, a former 2-time world champion. Or multiple-time world champion. So yeah, it's interesting to see how Cesaro will evolve here. I actually think there's a little bit of jealousy towards Shinsuke, so I don't think it's going to be a face turn for him.
Gotcha. I think they're lining up enough. Like, beforehand we talked about how Roman Reigns didn't necessarily have any more challenges to step up. Like, somebody's going to have to be stepping up out of the upper mid-card, right, into the main event scene. Mm-hmm. And I think they're setting up enough upper mid-card guys, whether this pay-per-view is coming up or not, for Elimination Chamber. Like, I could definitely see some combinations of Daniel Bryan, Cesaro, Shinsuke, Reigns, Jey Uso, and maybe in some other guys who have been aligning themselves with Roman Reigns could jump in there as well, or King Corbin and Dominic, and there's enough of these upper mid-card feuds to to make a decent Elimination Chamber now.
Yeah, well, it's another case of we have to see where they go, but because we don't know, that's the beauty of it.
And one thing we do know, though, I think it was even just last week, we were talking about how Apollo Crews had nothing going for him. He was still just the smiley guy. And this week he got something going for him.
Possibly. Not being confirmed.
Seemingly has something going for him.
Yeah, I mean, he was just sitting in the Roman's locker room, so the entire episode. Didn't help Roman, didn't do anything, just sitting there.
It could mean good things.
Yeah, I definitely could. It would be interesting.
Yeah, I think, given that we were just talking about how he needed something going for him, I think it could be quite a useful thing for his character to jump on into that Roman Reigns stable, and basically do what it seemed like on Talking Smack it was gonna be. You know, Paul Heyman gave him that little chit chat about what he needed to do with himself and with his character and everything, and it seems like he's going to fall under that tutelage.
Maybe. That would be an interesting way to evolve the Roman faction. To pick up somebody who's not part of the bloodline and turn them into the Intercontinental Champion. That would also be an interesting way to maybe make Jay sort of jealous and maybe lead into a certain other member of the family.
There's a lot of members of this family.
Yeah, but there's a certain one that's bigger than the rest.
It's Rikishi, isn't
it? No, it's not.
I think as much as we'd love our eventual Dwayne match, I think it is a little bit down the line. I feel like it's not going to happen until we're allowed full crowds. And, you know, thematically, WrestleMania 39, was it? Was WrestleMania Hollywood? Either 38 or 39. Thematically fits with it, but...
Yeah, but that's a long time to do the storyline, though.
It all depends how long Roman Reigns keeps up his head of the table piece.
Honestly, I would say if it's not done at WrestleMania, it would be done at SummerSlam.
I think it all comes down to crowds, and when people are allowed back at full capacity inside the buildings, and it's just something we cannot work to predict at the moment. We can't sit here and be like, in 6 months they'll be back to running full crowds. You know, it's just impossible to say such a thing.
Although I have heard rumors that they're going to try to do 25% capacity at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think they're going to try and do a pretty decent capacity. Which, you know, we'll see whether that was a good idea or a bad idea after the fact. I know AEW have been running with limited crowds as well in the same sort of open air, outdoor kind of stadium, keeping people in their bubbles and everything. So, and my understanding is that some NFL teams in Florida have also run open air stadiums, limited capacity events, and being able to run those. So the blueprints are there. I think some of the NFL stuff was also in the Raymond James stadium, so everybody who works in that stadium's got the blueprints. And it's still maybe 3 months away. I can't do math quickly. So there's still time as well to make sure that they've put the right plan in place and they're letting in the right amount of people across the 2 days and stuff like that. So, fingers crossed it's able to be held safely, with the reduced capacity. That's all we really can do on this side. Just cross our fingers.
Yeah.
Let's look at just one more thing before we run off of SmackDown. Ding Dong Hello.
Oh. Well, it worked for Bailey's personality. I'll give her that. I'll give him that. Yeah, clearly it looks like we got a feud brewing here between Bianca and Bailey. But we're not getting a match next week. We're getting some kind of triathlon thing.
Yep.
Well, actually, it's an obstacle course, but it might as well be a triathlon.
Look, what we're really going to see is Bailey either cheat or get her absolute butt whooped. That's what we're going to see next week.
Or we're going to see her Titus O'Neil it.
Yeah. It's interesting. It reminds me a little bit of what the Street Profits and Viking Raiders did. If this stretches out, if this is a one-off, then we'll have to wait and see whether they're going to be, trading things back and forth, and that would be very reminiscent of the Raiders Profit stuff. But yeah, we'll have to see what they do next week. It's pretty vague at the moment with the obstacle course, so they could do a number of things. But yeah, I see Bailey either cheating or losing.
Yeah, I could see her losing and then attacking Bianca. I did like the presentation, though, the smugness of her forcing Bianca to knock on the door. Then was going to show a highlight of Bianca, but showed her tapping out to Bailey. All the classic heel stuff that you do with the talking head segment.
Yeah, it all worked well, and Bailey's able to pull it off. Like, she's got enough charisma, her character works with it, and yeah, she was able to pull off this, what sounds like insane, segment on paper. So
yeah, and just having Bianca work with Bailey is a good thing too, because that just further elevates her up the card.
Yeah. And it's a solid feud as well, right? Like, if Belair comes out of this on top, she's going to look even more money than she is. Alrighty, it is time to go into our entrance theme of the week. And this week, for some reason, Josh has selected Shawn Michaels' theme.
Well, it's because he's a Rumble winner.
It makes sense. It's not the weirdest reasoning we've had before. And it's playing for you right about now. I think I'm cute. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. And you're at Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MP. As always, I'm Grady, he's Josh, and we're now over onto the Raw side of things. Where do you want to start with Raw? Do we want to look at this Bliss, Orton, Asuka thing mixed throughout the show? We want to look at some of the smaller stuff.
Let's give your girl a little shine for a moment.
Okay. I'll let you lead the segment.
Peyton had one heck of a match with Charlotte Flair.
Thank you. I'm taking all responsibility for that. Yeah, it's good to see, when they split up the Iconics, everybody sort of expected Peyton to go off on this singles storyline, and she sort of just got shunted with Lacey Evans back into a tag team again, and didn't really get to show off what she's got in the ring, which is actually quite a lot of talent. And so getting the singles opportunity against Charlotte Flair in what was not a squash match, which wasn't, 10 seconds and done, was, I think, good to just show off what she can do.
I actually have gotten behind the whole tag team thing, because it's been entertaining. Especially the stuff Lacey Evans is doing. That has just been insane. But yeah, it was a great match. It definitely let Peyton shine a little bit. Of course, it doesn't hurt being in the ring with the best worker in the company, but it definitely let her shine a bit.
And hopefully she gets a couple more opportunities like that. And, you don't need many for people to start taking notice. Just a little bit here and there. Plant the seeds. And then, people can slowly figure it out. But it seems as though for now, Lacey Evans is still messing with Charlotte, which might imply a tag team title match between the two teams coming up in the future. But the feud really does seem to be Lacey versus Charlotte, with Asuka and Peyton nowhere near it, really.
Yeah, it'll have to be a case where they have to defend the titles eventually. And, yeah, out of all the possibilities, if they're not going to go with a super established team like the Riot Squad, yeah, like Evans and Royce would be fine.
Yeah, I think based purely on how the feuds are laying out at the moment, it's a little bit harder, but just because, Charlotte and Asuka are not necessarily acting as a team week to week, it's really just two people with tag titles. And so when Charlotte kicks up a feud, it's hard to tell whether that's going to lead into a tag team title match, just because it is... Honestly, it seems like a feud with Charlotte, not with the tag team champions.
Yeah, although they have been kind of satelliting around each other. Although this week, Asuka was completely busy with another monster. We'll get to that.
Yeah. I don't quite know what's going to happen in the women's tag team division just yet. We'll have to keep an eye to it and see when they're next defended.
And I also have to say, poor Mandy Rose.
Yeah. Not often can you go one-on-one with Shayna Baszler and come out with your arm still attached.
Yeah, it's just like they've been poking the bear and poking the bear and poking the bear. Unfortunately, they keep getting themselves mauled every week.
Which is sad, because I really hope for good things with Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. But yeah, it's getting... It seems like Jackson Baszler are about to explode.
Yeah, it'll probably be when Baszler eliminates Jax in the Rumble.
Yeah, I think one of them eliminating the other will be the official split. Or they can argue and Dana Brooke can eliminate both of them.
That would be great, but I just have serious questions that they want to do anything with Dana.
Yeah, but I have to keep optimistic. I have to keep telling myself that they do. This is how I get through the day. But if we are talking about the Royal Rumble, in theory, we know one person who will not be in the Royal Rumble, and that is your boy Ricochet. He lost his qualifying match against AJ Styles.
That's such a shame, because he was so instrumental last year in Brock Lesnar's elimination. Which led to your boy's big ear.
Yeah, your boy helped out my boy and then did nothing for 12 months. But yeah, I think it's still, this Ricochet joining Retribution is still the storyline here. I don't quite know where it's going to head. It seems like there's just a series of qualifying matches against AJ Styles at the moment. Like, he's the gatekeeper of the Rumble. So we'll have to see, because we've still got 2 weeks?
We have Actually, we have a week and a SmackDown.
Gotcha. So 2 SmackDowns and a Raw.
Yeah.
So next week, on this show, same time, same place, will be our Royal Rumble preview show then.
Yes.
And we'll figure out where everything there is heading, but I don't know. I don't think Ricochet's going to find himself a spot in the Rumble next week, so he might be missing out this year.
I do want to point out that Retribution has started to win a little more often.
That's true, but they are also up against Xavier Woods.
Well, you got to start somewhere.
That is true. Xavier Woods losing 2 weeks in a row now to members of Retribution. So maybe this is a little bit of momentum for Retribution. We'll have to wait and see what happens for them. But the main event storyline, the thing that was building throughout the entire show, is that Randy Orton now wears a really weird looking mask.
Yeah. Due to the fireball from last week. And yeah, it was just a really weird seeing him just talk about the fireball and how he's still going to win the Rumble even if he didn't have a face, stuff like that. And then we had Alexa and Asuka in the main event. And during the match, Alexa went Fiend and transformed during the match.
Yeah, it's a little scary. Just a little bit.
And then she managed to beat the Raw Women's Champion, which honestly should have been for the title to begin with. But now I have a strong sense that Alexa could win the Rumble.
Okay. I guess it all comes down to who they want to be walking into WrestleMania with the belt and stuff like that. But yeah, if the path they're going to go with is Bliss Asuka at the Rumble, or whether the path they want to go with is her winning it, at the Rumble, if they're going to just have a title match there, don't quite know. But what if... I'm not saying this is a good idea. I need to clarify that before I say this, because every time I say ideas, people think I mean that they're good ideas. Just ideas, okay? What if Alexa Bliss wins the Women's Rumble and The Fiend wins the Men's Rumble?
Very possible.
Oh, you don't mean to say that. You meant to say that's a horrible and bad idea.
Well, it is. It's not like the worst idea out there.
Okay.
The worst idea would be T-Bar winning it. Or Slapjack. Slapjack winning it would be the worst idea.
Okay.
Because T-Bar's legit. But yeah, it's just a case of I could see it happening. Do I want it to happen? Probably not. I'd rather have just the Fiend return and cost Orton the Rumble than him winning it. But I would be down with Alexa winning the Women's Rumble.
She can just fireball everybody, and then, man, it's really easy to throw people out who are worried about their burnt face. Don't do that. Don't have Asuka throwing fireballs left, right, and center in the Rumble. Some ideas I know are definitely bad when I throw them out. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they go with, because Asuka and Alexa seem to be collision coursing, as you say, whether that's a Rumble win leading to a WrestleMania match, whether that's just a match at the Rumble, whether that's a match at whatever the next pay-per-view is. Everything's so open at the right now, and we are only a couple weeks or a week and a bit away from the Rumble, which, to be at this point and not really have any super duper solid favorites that we're really sure is gonna win, that's a unique feeling.
Yep. Well, it's cases we just have to wait and see. We have ideas. We don't have anybody like, this is the person they're going with.
And we'll hopefully discuss more of those ideas next week when we do our preview show. But for this week, it looks like we have just run out of time. It's been great talking to you.
Baby.
You can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/WrestlingRadio, Twitter page, twitter.com/WrestlingRadio. And we'll see you next week to talk about the Royal Rumble.